Hello everybody, welcome to Also Rusty Buckets. Subscribe to the channel if you are not already. About half of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so I'd appreciate it if you did so. Also drop a like on this video, it only takes 1 second and it makes a massive difference. Also real quick, if you haven't seen it already, my newest NBA deep dive is out now on the main channel. It is about impact versus talent, like how you evaluate a player's impact versus a player who is more talented. How do you rank them, even if this player is more impactful but this one's more talented? Where do you draw the line there? That kind of discussion. So that's over on the main channel, and it's the first deep dive in a month, so I'd appreciate it if you'd watch it if you have not already. But with that out of the way, today we are doing yet another installment of Hot Takes, this time on a Monday instead of a Sunday, just because I was tired as shit when I released that deep dive, so I just dropped it and went right to sleep. Well, with that, let's get on with the video. Marcus Smart is better than Kemba Walker. See, I already had this take before Kemba Walker has been having the really bad season that he has been for the Celtics this year. Like, I was already like, I think Marcus Smart is more important to the Celtics than Kemba Walker is, and Kemba's often delegated to just being a spot-up shooter, and he's not a good defensive player, and like, I just think Marcus Smart is better. But this is like obvious to me now that Kemba has been so bad this year. I don't know what his season averages look like at this point, but he has been consistently bad for the Celtics. And Marcus Smart, even though he has barely played this season, is better, and I thought this way last year, so my opinion has not changed. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum do not coexist as good as people think they do. Somehow got 2 Celtics takes back-to-back. I did not plan that. Here's the thing. It's not like they play off of each other particularly amazingly, but they also, it's not like they step on each other's toes. Like, they do similar enough things. Jaylen shoots a bunch of mid-range shots, threes, drives to the basket. Same thing. They're both 3-level scorers, basically. Jayson is a better playmaker, but a little less consistent overall than Jaylen, regardless who you think is better. I don't think they get in each other's way. I also don't think they just complement each other's games perfectly by any means. But, I mean, those are 2 big forwards who, I guess Jaylen plays shooting guard a lot, but bigger guard/forwards who are great shot creators and good defensive players. I mean, those are the kind of players you want in the NBA today, so you're not trading one of them to make the other one's life 5% easier. I think regardless, both of them together is a plus, regardless of how they fit individually together. It doesn't matter that much. Shai GilgeousAlexander is the most overrated player in the league. Not true at all. Now, for a while now, I have thought that a lot of Shai GilgeousAlexander fans overrate him, and I still kind of feel that way. However, Shai has been fucking awesome this year, to the point where my takes on him in the past just continue to not age well, because he's suddenly became like an elite 3-point shooter after being a mediocre one thus far in his career. His playmaking has taken a leap. He, at this point, I would say is bordering on underrated. I just think there's a lot of Shai Gilgeous fans who push it over the top. Like, I saw a thread today that was like saying he was better than Jaylen Brown, and a lot of players are like, he's clearly not better than Jaylen Brown. Was one of the more tame ones that was in that take. But yeah, definitely not overrated in general. Some of his fans can go over the top, but that's pretty much it. Damian Lillard is not clutch in the playoffs. So here's the thing about this. If I actually had a strong take in reply to this one, I would have done research for it, but I didn't really do that. I mean, he has 2 series-ending game winners, both of which were extremely high-difficulty shots that he nailed. I do think there's a lot of recency bias with Dame in terms of how he is evaluated as a playoff performer, as if you look at it, he is historically a playoff underperformer, sometimes by a large margin, sometimes just a minor one, and then he has a couple of series here or there where he's awesome. Obviously, the OKC one is the first one that comes to mind, but I would say, just based on that, at least recently, he's a relatively clutch playoff performer. I wouldn't say he's like the clutchest player in the league like some people say he is, but I mean, I don't have numbers in front of me to like, oh, this is what he is on last 10 second in the game shots or whatever. It's hard to just completely go off eye test on that in that regard. But from the eye test, I think he's fine, and I think he does some incredible stuff from time to time. Although he's not the most consistent with it, as he never really is in the playoffs in general. Gary Trent will be the 2nd best player on Toronto by next season if Lowry doesn't return. I mean, I would argue OG Anunoby is probably going to be a little bit bit better. But after that, yeah, I think Gary Trent, I have a lot of Blazers fans mad at me for this take, but I think Gary Trent is going to be better than Norman Powell in 2 years. And like I understand the urgency of getting Norman Powell faster because he's better now when you have Dame who's like 30 years old. I get that, but I would have rather just seen them keep Gary Trent. But I understand their perspective on that trade. But I was very much like, why would you trade Gary Trent? But yeah, that's that. I think he'd probably be the third best player. Daniel Range, which is Danny Ainge, might actually be the worst GM in the league. Now, first of all, don't tag players or GMs or coaches or whatever on Twitter with your criticism of them, especially harsh, like, you suck at your job criticism. I find that so obnoxious and childish, like, to go at someone's head directly like they're not human beings. I think it's real shitty when people do that, when they're like adding someone and like, you suck. Don't do that. Just don't. As for the take, Danny Ainge is not the worst GM in the league, for sure. Is he overrated? Yeah, I've said for years now that he's overrated, and I had people throwing rocks at me for that take, but look at me, I was right. But he's definitely not the worst in the league. I find that pretty ludicrous. Patrick Williams is going to be the second best player from the 2020 class. I don't think it's impossible that he is past Anthony Edwards on that class, because LaMelo is obviously going to be number one, but I would bet against it. I will say I think he's going to be better than Tyrese Halliburton like 5 years from now, because I think Reese has been better at the start, but Patrick has a higher ceiling. So right now, Tyrese is like double to triple the player that Patrick Williams is right now. But I think in 5 years' time, Patrick is going to be clearly the better player, especially because he is a big athletic forward who is great on both ends of the court. And I think he has the potential to be a 20-point scorer who's an all-defensive candidate who can play power forward. Like, that's an incredibly valuable player to have in today's NBA. So I'm going to bet on Patrick Williams as the third best player from this draft class, just barely over Tyrese Halliburton, and Anthony Edwards is number 2, LaMelo obviously number 1. But, you know, it's early. Some player that we don't even know about right now could end up being the best player of the class, because that's how it works sometimes with young players. But yeah, Patrick is very good and very underrated amongst the NBA's best rookies. The Nikola Vucevic trade will not work out for the Bulls. I saw a lot of people saying things like that after the Bulls' first game with Vucevic that didn't go all too well, even though Zach was dealing with an injury and the Bulls were just missing a whole lot of shots that they normally make. I found that the recency bias on that to be at an all-time high. But I will say, there is a bit of me that was like ignoring the potential bad of this trade just because I was excited to have the Bulls trade for a star. At the end of the day, I'm still very positive on this trade. The way this goes poorly is the Bulls don't get the chemistry right this year and they miss the playoffs, and they get a lottery pick that's like 11th in the draft. And they had the potential to land somebody pretty good because this is a deep draft class. And they didn't, because instead now they have a 31-year-old center. I definitely think that's a risk that is with this deal. I think if you make the playoffs and that pick drops to 15 to 17, that looks a whole lot better. But it's definitely plausible that it doesn't go as well as you would like. That being said, I think this move is kind of similar to the Drew Holiday one with the Bucks. Not as nearly as much of an overpay. I don't think it's an overpay at all, actually. But it could be similar to that move in that they did it knowing that this is the move that gets Zach LaVine to stay on the team, just like the Bucks did that move knowing that would be the move to keep Giannis on the team. It is definitely, like, I think this move keeps Zach on the team, and for that, I think it's worth it, even if they miss on, like, the 11th best prospect of this draft, even though that's definitely not going to be fun to watch, I can assure you that. Malcolm Brogdon is the most underrated player in the NBA. Yeah, he averages 21, 5, and 6 on league average efficiency. I'd say he's pretty underrated. I don't know that he's quite all-star caliber, but he's bordering on that level of talent. I'd say he is better than Kemba Walker, since we're shitting on Kemba Walker today. But yeah, I just agree. I don't know that he's the most underrated, but he's definitely underrated. I can definitely agree to that one. Rondo is a top 7 point guard in the league. Now, if I had the energy to do a fake laugh right now, I would do a fake laugh right now, but I don't. All I will just say is, holy shit, that's a stupid take. That was not a fake laugh. That was a real laugh. Let me just list out the point guards, and Rudy, you might have to speed this up because I'm bad at like thinking of this stuff on the spot. Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook. This is not in order, by the way, before you jump on me. Luka Doncic, Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, Ja Morant, De'Aaron Fox. Hell, do I even put Kemba Walker? I definitely put him above Rondo, even though I don't think he's top 10. LaMelo Ball is already in the borderline top 10 category. Kyle Lowry, I don't know how I forgot him. Lonzo Ball is better than Rajon Rondo. Thomas Satoransky is better than Rajon Rondo. So, and he's not even that good. No, Rondo is not a top 7 point guard in the league. That's absolutely Trae Young. He's a backup to Trae Young all year. I even forgot about him. That's a ludicrous take to have. Chris Paul. Think of how many fucking good point guards there are in the NBA, and you're out here saying Rondo is top 7 point guard. My God, that's a bad take. Anyways, that was it. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.